What's going on? I want to talk about how we have been brainwashed and manipulated and how easy it is to do. Now, how does a human being receive information? How do we get information? We receive all of our information through the five senses, which is sight, smell, taste, touch, or hearing. Now, through these senses, we receive information. And that information that we receive, we then do one of a few things. We store that information. We are then forced to make a decision or form an opinion upon the information that we've received. And that's based on when we take something in, it's pulling off of memories that we have based on similar information or that same information, and we're then bouncing that around in our head, and it's making us choose and making us, basically bringing us to a crossroads and making us choose. All right, or it's making us form an opinion. Now, all of these senses are the same. It's the same for seeing, it's even the same for smelling, if you think about it, right? If you smell something, what is that doing? That's going into your head, and you're now making a decision. You're saying, ooh, I've smelt that before. Now, based on that decision, you're going to do some things. You might actually say, I smell something good. I might actually follow that good smell because the last time I did that, it brought me to some freshly baked cookies. Or say I smell something that smells bad. I might walk in the opposite direction because the last time I smelt that thing, I walked into a pile of dog poo. Who knows what it is, right? But that's an idea. Now, when you take that and you understand that all this information that we receive is coming in through our senses, and then we're basing opinions, we're basing action on all this information, you can then start to understand, what if the information we are being shown or being given is not correct? Now we are basing all these ideas and forming opinions on things that aren't even right in the first place. Now, this is where perception comes into play and becomes extremely important, because what you perceive truly becomes your reality. If I perceive that everything sucks, oh, this sucks, my life sucks, everything's gonna suck, then truly my life is going to suck. Everything's gonna suck because that's my perception. I now believe it, I now perceive it, that becomes my reality. If I perceive that my life is amazing, you ever wonder why you see some people and they're walking around and you might look at them and be like, oh my God, that person just doesn't look, what is up with them? That's a weird look. But they have the most confidence ever. Or they have a partner that's beautiful, man or woman, and you're like, how did they get that person? It's because their perception of themselves is probably better than your perception of yourself. And that perception has manifested, and now other people see that person in the way that they see themselves. That's manifestation. That is perception. And perception is everything. If we are now taking this information in and we're using our senses to form an opinion, which is perception, what if we're basing it on wrong information? Now we're perceiving all of this stuff incorrectly. That is exactly what has been going on. We have been given wrong information, and it has been processing through our processor and formulating all of this data that is based on wrong information. So now we are in a cycle, a mental spin cycle of nonsense. And that is where we're at. That is why it's so difficult for so many people to get beyond the material, because they are stuck in it. And it's all based on your senses and your perception of everything. If you want to start learning some truth, I highly recommend you start learning some truth. There's plenty of resources. I give them out all the time. You can always ask me. You can reach out to me, and I'll show you resources. I'll give you resources, and I'm all down for it, because I want people to learn. It's important to understand what's going on around us. It's important to understand how we got here. All right, we don't live on a spinning ball. That's a mentalism trap. We have been transmuted. Our minds have been transmuted through alchemy, and it's been done by the elite people that control everything. All right, they leave traces and evidence behind of all of their work, and you can find it if you train yourself to find it. You have to start learning how to decode some things, and you can start understanding how it works, but it's all up here. this earth we live on, this could be considered a prison planet. If you consider it a prison planet, the only way to free yourself from that is through your mind, through perception. That's everything, right? So it's funny. I perceive, like the town I'm in right now, Holyoke, Massachusetts. If you told a lot of people that say, "Oh, Holyoke, oh, that's a real, you know, that's a scummy town, that's a crappy town." You know what? My idea, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. The buildings are amazing here. What a beautiful old kingdom town. And that's all perception, you know. So when people say, "Oh, where do you work?" I work in Holyoke. It's one of the most beautiful cities I've seen. I've been all over America. I've camped in almost every state in this country. I stayed in a tent or no tent at all, just outside. So I've seen some things, and let me tell you, it's all about perception. I love you all, and this is for entertainment purposes only.